live stream. Okay, today, surprise, surprise, I'm going to go back to work again on the Acer laptop. Still haven't completely given up on making it a Fedora 29 server. But I think I'm going to switch gears today, or at least right now. Instead of, the last thing I decided was, well, I could just install it. Leave the SD card in this little USB adapter and install it with it in there, and I know that works. That'll boot. I installed it on the SD card in the SD card slot, and then a full-size SD card adapter yesterday or 2 days ago now, I guess, and it won't boot. It just, I can't figure any way to get it to see the SD card to boot to it, even with the hard drive in there, trying to like daisy chain and boot grub on the hard drive and then grub again on the SD card. I just can't get it to work. So, but it'll boot to USBs all day long. So and it booted and it ran fine for a while, and then it crashed about the time I was fixing to leave it and let it run all night and see how it did. Well, it crashed before I got everything shut down and ready to go to quit. So that was good to find that out, so I didn't leave it sitting there running for nothing. And I don't know if that was because, it could very well have been because I installed it on the SD card slot. I did see there was a couple of errors. It was looking for some drive cache right through or something, and it couldn't find it. And it might have been because of that. So anyway, that might have been what crashed it. If I'm terrible at remembering everything, but anyway, it's in the previous video if you're real interested in that, what was going on with that. But of course, if you're going to install an operating system, whatever way you're going to do it, a hard drive, a USB, or an SD card, if your machine will boot to an SD card slot, then you need to put it in that spot so that everything is written on there, and all, in the installer can write it, can see it, and write it in the right places so it works. That's what I figured. So anyway, I've got the hard drive. I've got my little endoscope plugged in. I got the hard drive under it. This is a hard drive I'm always talking about. That's it'll let you format it all day long. I had it formatted to FAT32 and was writing some files to it here and there, and it didn't have any errors. But I know in the past it's you can start using it, and then the next thing you know, it starts getting I/O errors, and then so then it corrupts your files and everything. And every time I've tried to install an operating system on it, it gets close to the end and then fails. And so it's 250 gigabyte Western Digital, and I was other than maybe thinking I could root grub on it, install grub and use it as a boot device, I wasn't really going to try to use it. But Adrian, who's been helping me out, and he sent me, and I did some testing on his new, he wanted to see if his new version he's working on of Rescue Tux would boot to, would be able to work with ext4 file system. And so I had put formatted this to ext4, and then that's it. No grub, no operating system, no nothing. And then I tried to install grub with the new Rescue Tux that he's working on, 6 something, and it couldn't do it. And he said that was anyway, that showed him that he was going to have to use a newer version, probably of like Domain 10. This was on Domain 9, and I believe the one that's out right now is on Domain 8. Runs on Domain 8. So I knew, and we knew that. I knew that Domain. I want to put words in his mouth. I knew that Domain doesn't mount Fedora. Well, I knew it wouldn't mount. Let's see, LVMs. It wouldn't mount regular LVM ones. Now I think you could do it if you knew how you get the commands and do it in the command line or whatever. Actually, right now I don't even remember whether I'm pretty sure it would mount ext2s and 3s, but I guess it well. I guess it won't mount ext4. That was the whole thing. We wanted to make sure, a simple way to figure it out, you know, just try it. So, anyway, he told, I got off kind of sidetracked really, talking about the last videos instead of what I'm trying to do right now. He gave me a tip about this hard drive, about these hard drives. He said that, you know, hard drives generally start get written a lot over and over and over at the beginning of the drive. And he said just move, normally the default, like when you use GParted or any, you know, partition editor, it's normally going to leave the first megabyte empty. And my understanding is that is actually for in case you need to write a bootloader to that spot. Windows, I think, mostly used to do that. I think it was older Windows that used to do that. But anyway, he said you could move up 10, even 20 megabytes, you know, to start your first partition, and it might bypass the bad sectors, depending on how many you have and where they are, and work, you know, for a while longer. And so, you know, really, I want my server to be dependable, though. But the thing is, all my machines that I've been, you know, running servers on are all old, and one way or another they may have some problem. The only problems I've ever had before were fans going out and stuff, you know, which is you can replace them. But the network, the onboard network, quit working on the NetPro Max. You can see that black box behind me. It's back there waiting on me. I tried to mess with it. I tried to figure it out, and I wasn't figuring it out. So I thought, well, I had been thinking about this laptop for a while, and I thought this might be easier. But then, you know, I mean, I was just having fun with, you know, helping Adrian, and he's helping me. I'm really having fun getting some help from him, you know, someone of the expert on this sort of thing. So I kept, you know, doing it. But I went blank. Sorry. I want to first. I want to run a hard drive tester on it and see if I can tell where the. I don't actually remember being able, you know, myself being able to read through that data on when I run a hard drive test, and be able to tell where the bad sectors are. There's a lot of data that I don't know anything about when you read those things. I just kind of get the crux of it, you know, pass or fail. How bad is it? You know, it always says like, well, let's say good, bad, or badder, and imminent failure. And I don't think this one said imminent failure, and that's what kind of puzzles me about it. But why, you know, I've seen drives say imminent failure and then seen them run for 5 years, you know. So I'm going to put him back in. I just thought I'd show it before I put it back in there. So I'm going to put him back in there and boot up to probably Parted Magic. And I was actually thinking I might want to put it on the USB stick, the newest version that I've got. The newest version that was free. They went proprietary, so it's like several years old now, but it still has good tools on it, especially the hard drive testing tools, which is what I want to use. If I was going to use GParted, that version on there is kind of old now. Well, it comes on Fedora. It was on the Debian Talks. I think it must come on the Debian 8 and 9. Just comes with it, just like it does with Fedora. So, you know, any partition editing, I would use the newer versions. But this is an old hard drive anyway, so that tester ought to be fine. So I'm going to go get over here on this thing. Let's see, I'll switch mics. And get on the lapel. And I'm having a little bit of noise trouble. And, well, the USB sound card I'm working on, using on the lapels, that's just the best it'll do. Using the noise gate and everything to cut it out, the noise out, you know, shut it down when I'm not talking or anything. But SM58, I couldn't figure out why I kept hearing a little bit of noise in it. Finally figured out, I believe it is because my Red Black BioStar is running, and I think it's catching the vibrations through the desk of it running, and maybe just going through my well, you'll see it in a minute. Going through my get this other camera here. I was going to move it over here anyway, so. Okay, so the since I get it to, it's delayed in its reactions here. I have this. I was trying to fix my sound for probably an hour or two now, and I've had my cameras running that whole time. I really forgot they were running and ready to go. You know, and so. Certainly doesn't help to have them running longer. Having the stream, my camera stream over the Wi-Fi. That's off the phones. That's the only way I can do this. And I don't have a real camera. That's the only way you could do, especially unless you have expensive setup. It's not the only way to be done. But it's the only way I can do it. But anyway, the SM58 over here, the boom. I have it inverted and mounted to my computer rack, and so I've got foam on here, and it helps a lot. But when that, I think when that machine's running, of course normally it's out here like that when I'm talking on it, but when that machine's running, I think it's even through the foam, I think it's still transferring some vibration noise. And the rack, see it's hooked to the rack up here, but the rack is not connected to the desk, so it shouldn't transfer through there. But I have had I've had noises like, where did all that come from? And when I had a computer in the rack running or something, you know, because that's touching the hard metal up there, you know. There's no padding up there. So anyway, get this. I just left it so that I could show. I'm always talking about this hard drive, and I thought it would be good to show what it is I'm talking about. So I left it ready to put in. All right, left it out so I could show it and then put it in. So get it in there. Oops, you gotta put that in first. This one's not exactly loved to go in its spot. Not hard, but it's a little bit. Oh, thing fell right back on my. Hurts too. The lid to that little toolbox down there. It's got a little, it's just plastic, but it has little lockers that are sticking off the end of it, and when it falls back on you, they hit you right in the hand, right there where it's soft. Okay, so get those two started, and then I'll get those ones in the front. And I have been thinking about, well, if I don't get it running, it doesn't matter. But if I do decide to use it as a server, I think I'm really going to have to take that broken monitor screen off of it, because it's, you know, that light really bothers me. Not too many places I can set it, and where I had it set yesterday or the other day, I was looking, I couldn't help but see it the whole time I'm sitting at the computer, and I couldn't stand that. But that's the other thing, is it being a laptop, they default, the operating system see that it's got a battery and everything, and it defaults to power saving modes, and I got to figure out how to turn all that off with Cockpit, you know. Well, I could install a Make desktop on it, and I might end up, that might be the easiest way for me to administer the thing. That's what I usually do. I was thinking I wouldn't have enough space, but the more I looked at it yesterday, the more I thought, you know, I would, I think. So it actually fooled me, because the first time I installed it, it actually only used 15 gigabyte of the SD card, and of course I'd have plenty of space if I used the hard drive, but it's 250 gigabytes. But even on the SD card, I think I would have space, because I finally realized I need to go into the custom install and tell it to use the whole thing. I think it was maybe doing that because it saw what kind of drive, you know, it was flash memory, and it formatted it as XFS, I believe is what it is, and which you know, I think is supposed to be one of the newer, better ones for flash memory. If I remember right, I still didn't remember to go look that up, but I think that's what the deal is with it. And well, that's the other reason why it might have crashed it, because I went ahead and did ext24, because ext4, not 24, because I was worried about XFS being not working well with the larger, you know, anything over 15 gigabyte. I was just trying to wonder why it was just doing it at 15 gigabyte, you know, automatically. It doesn't ever do that with hard drives. Fedora 29 server installer, Fedora 29 installers of any 28, 29, any Fedora installer I've ever ran. Never seen it just take half of the drive you put in there, you know, automatically. It did it on every. You can do ext2. You can do LVMs to the default, but was doing normally it does ext4 inside of the LVMs for the root and the home and everything, and then the swap partition. But it was doing XFS on this flash memory. But you can customize it and do BTRFS, or you can do one called standard partitioning and then choose whatever partition type you want. And I did that, and I chose ext24 for everything. But it did crash too after a while. So, and the machine itself, it seems to run as fine as long as you don't like I've really only ever ran it on, you know, live systems on a USB stick, and it normally doesn't crash. It normally runs as long as you want to run it. So I put it in there. Yeah. So I think I will get a CD. I think I have a CD of the newest version of I think this is it right here. Parted Magic. Yeah, 6.6. I was thinking I might burn a USB, but there's really no point. I've already got something that'll work. So thought I would get this booting up. Now, if I caught it early enough, it will. I think I did. It will boot up, and while it's booting, it takes a little while because it boots into memory. GParted does. I mean, Parted Magic does. First, you do have to choose your boot preferences and everything. Let's get this out of the way. It's very slow at reading. This machine is very slow. And from what I gathered, laptops are typically that way, and these older ones are. Very slow at reading. Oh, it didn't catch the. It didn't catch the CD. So now that I'm on I don't think I've gotten connected to my keyboard yet. Yeah, it's in grub rescue mode. I didn't think it had grub on that hard drive. I reformatted it. Oh, maybe it's in the MBR of this hard drive. Could be. I was thinking that Grub 2 didn't put any of it in the MBR, but I do remember that Legacy Grub, original Grub, Grub 1 is what I usually call it now. They call it Legacy Grub. It's oh, I gotta hit it again. I shut it down again. Okay, there we go. I know it wrote some files to the MBR. Well, it asked you if you wanted to do that. You didn't have to do it that way, but it always asked you, if you did the installer, it would ask you. I was trying to hit F12, but I don't think I got it. I hear it reading the SD card, though. I mean, the CD. It's a rewrite. This one is a rewritable CD. Hopefully, it can work in there. It doesn't always work in all machines. But give it a minute to see. No, it didn't work. Yeah, if you told it to write it to the MBR, it would write some files to the MBR and then the rest into the partition. Okay, now the keyboards are working. So I'm going to hit F12 and see if I'll be able to choose a CD. Maybe it's not a CD that this thing can read. Or maybe it just didn't catch it. There we go. Okay, so now it's showing it up at the top. So what I guess it's doing is trying the CD DVD and it's not working, so then it's going on to the hard drive and it did it again. So that's evidently what's happening. So yeah, it's a CDRW. I think rather than fiddle around with them, you can go try and try and try. I don't have another one. I want the new version. So the newest version that's available, I mean, in open source. They said they went proprietary after version 6.6, and let's see, I might as well turn that off now. I didn't, but I should have the ISO. So that I can get over here on my desktop and back on the SM58. I know that there's actually noise in that other mic, but when I have to move around, it's the best way I can do it. Okay, let's see. Yeah, my video's being made just fine. Let's go over here and look on my backup drive and see if I have it on this one. If it's not, if I don't have it on here, then my red black Biostar, the one with the red lights, has got it on there, and it's running, and I can network into it. Let's see. Okay, I want. Yeah, I don't have a parted magic folder in there at all. What else do I have? I don't remember seeing any hard drive testers in Rescue Tux. Boot Repair Desk might, but I don't know. I'm not going to burn it just to find out. Let's see. GParted Live, well, I don't know about. The only one that I actually know for sure has hard drive testers, only live, is Parted Magic, so. I believe I will keep thinking I can do my network copy it. I guess I'll copy it, or we'll see. If I can mount a network drive, I might not have to copy it over. Let's see, yeah. Let's see what happens if I try to do that. Places, I hardly ever do this, but it is not. Connect to a server. 192.168.0.117. I remember it's IP. I want port 22, and I want SSH, and I guess any folder's good enough. Do the username and password. Whoops. Can't remember for sure. I'm not going to say remember the password because that might not be right. Okay. I think I'll say add bookmark for now. That'll add a bookmark to the probably the KJ file manager. Yep, I remembered it. Okay, so now oh, I probably should have went in as root. Doggone you. Yeah, because oh yes I can. Media. There we go. So yeah. See, in the Fedora 14, that's back when they mounted the media in the media folder where you could find it. So there's all my backup drives and stuff, and that's where I'm going to need to go. I guess I'll just, let's see, I think it's going to be this one. I'll look for it first, and so I'll know where to go. This is, I think this is was the, I was gonna try to soldier on without reorganizing it, but I don't know. Well, there we go. Let's try the list. I don't know if that'll make it just take longer or if that'll be good. I can't read like that. It just doesn't work for my eyes. I needed a straight line list. I never did remember to check my sound. I've got a good stream. Now let's see if I've got audio over there. Yeah, it's good. Okay, now I want I gave my folders the same name. Let's see. There it is. Oh, it just did it again. You got to go in there and set the settings. The folders didn't stay like I had them organized. That's one thing I don't like about these files. Which one is this one? That's KJ. Okay, that's the default. Even all the way back to Fedora 14. I wasn't thinking it was the default that far back. Okay. What did I want? Parted Magic. There it is. Parted Magic. 6.6 486. I probably want this. This is an. I guess the 486 would run. x86-64. I've got them all. Let's see, what's this? Oh, that's, I don't know what that's about, actually. So the only one I have unzipped in there, I've got 4.5, and oh, then there's Parted Magic 2013. That's the newest one. So 6.6 isn't the newest one they had. It was 2013. And yeah, this one's already been unzipped. This is the one I actually want. So I don't guess I even have, maybe I have the newest one on another CD and I wasn't thinking right. Anyway, CD, I'm not going to fool with CDs. I forgot how slow that drive was. 2013 and 486. Oh, and I wrote the date on there so I would know which one was newest. And then there's the downloads page that I saved back then. Okay, so can I right click and now I thought maybe I could copy that URL. There we go. Not in this one. That's why I like going to, I can go there and if I need to, but maybe I'm just going to open up Fedora Media Writer and see if I can get there just the way I just did. And I need to put my USB stick in there. I need to close it, or it'll be seeing my. It will only be seeing my big backup drives that I do not want to reformat. Oh, I've got to unplug this camera. Oh wait, that's going to cause me trouble. I think I can reach. I've got one more USB on this machine. If I switch. Yeah, I think I can reach it. And I can even let you see what's going on with the camera where it is. Okay. Yeah, I'll just, I've only got 2 USBs on the front, and I have 3 or so in the back, and 2 of them are occupied. There's one more left. That's where my USBs dropped it. Didn't go real far, but I'll be able to get it or not. Darn it. Where'd you go, you mean little thing here? I gotta be careful, that's my sound back there. Anything that's really precarious. Oh. I think it did go somewhere else. Oh, that's a keyboard. Well, I think I've messed up. I don't know where I dropped it to. Can almost see where my hand's going, but down there, but my elbow just barely fits in there. It hurt getting it out just now. I didn't even have the right place. There's the USBs. Wasn't even in the right area. Well, this is a fine mess you've gotten us into, Ollie. I'm not sure if it... I know I didn't hear it fall all the way down. It fell down in the bottom of the rack. That would really be bad. I think it's just... I can't get my elbow out. Okay. Oh, now they both work. It wouldn't work. Okay, so I got the stick back and my sound had quit, and I was trying to fix that. Okay, is it going to work? All right. I bumped into the USB sound card on the just doing it by feel like I was trying to do. So we'll see if that worked out. Okay, yeah, it mounted up just fine. So I don't believe I need that endoscope again. It was just that one little thing, and it actually works the machine enough that it can actually cause me to have to, machine gets to where I have to reboot it. Thought I had switched to desktop and I hadn't. So it mounted up, and I've got the ISO is over there on the network. It's not a real big ISO, so the Magic 2013. This is a x86 64 laptop. So what was I going to try to see? Oh, the size. Nothing shows up. Let's see if I can just change the view. Nothing shows up right in that view. Yeah, 315 megabytes, so that's not real big. Okay, so I was making sure my stream is still good. After all that, so that about wore me out and made me have to okay, yeah, I don't want to do anything with that part. I want to use Fedora Media Writer. I'll leave that open in case I need to look through that to know where to go, in case I forget. Oh yeah, I had to close it because I had it opened and didn't have that plugged in. So yeah, up at the top there, it says make sure you're on the right drive, and that is the right one for me, saying it's cruiser pattern. And do you want to restore it to factory settings, which means reformat it to FAT32? And yes, I do. But so you got to make sure you're on the right drive, or you don't want to reformat the wrong drive. It'd be bad. Okay, custom image. And this time, see, since I mounted a network drive, I should be seeing, okay, I guess I have to click other locations. There it is. And there's my network drive. Now, I'll have to go down through all the menus and find the media folder. I hope I can get there. I was able to a while ago. Image files. Try this again. I accidentally clicked where I didn't mean to. Oh, that search is just not working like I'm expecting it to. There we go. I'm going to just have to read through them and try to find it. Well, let's go in alphabetical order. Maybe I will be able to find it. Trying to find the media folder. Looks like it's in, oh, it's in Home Dawn. That's why. There we go. Media. Yeah, as long as all you're doing is reading and copying files, you don't have to be root. And there's no point in being root because then you can do damage, So, downloads. Now, that time the searcher worked. It wasn't working because I wasn't in the right place to find the media folder. thought it should work. That didn't work. Unless there's more folders below, but there we go. Yeah, there was. There we go. Parted Magic. And Parted Magic 2013. Parted Magic 2013 0129 ISO. There we go. Ready to write to the SanDisk Cruiser pattern. Yeah, and it's only like 300 something megabytes, so no problem there. I get a 2 gigabyte drive. SanDisk Cruiser. Okay. Well, I'm getting a crash course in writing USB sticks. I've been doing it over and over lately. But yeah, that's exactly why I like to have a multi-boot USB stick with all my favorite tools on it. And that's what I used to have on this 32 gigabyte SD card, but it got too fragmented to work right with. Easy to boot is what I had built it with. And every time I added a new ISO, it didn't work right. So I used to build them on. I used to use tools. That's all there was available that I could find. Tools that had to be run in Windows, which I thought was quite ironic. In order to build a nice Linux, multi-boot stick, you'd have to use Windows. But then, well, easy to boot. You have to use Windows to set it up. But finished. Okay, now don't do the red one, even though it's drawing you in to click on it. That says delete your download image. Don't do that unless you want to delete your download image. Okay, so I think I'll check it out first, make sure it looks like it wrote good. Oh, I was about to just unplug it. Eject it. Wait till it says safe to remove, and then I can put it back. Yes, I did just insert a medium. Select how to open Parted Magic. That's kind of weird. No applications found. Let's see, I'll hit cancel. And usually they just open up in the file browser anyway, but if it doesn't, that's fine. I want to make sure everything looks like it's working. Okay. But what I can do is go over here in Crusader and find it. Let's see. Gigabyte hard disk. I think it's going to be the unknown. Yeah, no, that's not it. What is that? That's my home directory, looks like. I see the U3. Oh, there it is, Parted Magic. I just can't see. You just, even if you don't know exactly what's supposed to be in there, just see if it looks like it put something on there that could be useful, Okay. I wanted to be in that folder with my Linux commands because I thought I might need them. Okay, so it looks like it's going to be fine. Safely remove. Then it says unable to stop the drive, and I don't know if I always forget which one, but I don't think it matters. There's those two partitions, and these disks. Just these particular. Well, I don't know. Other brands may be that way, but if I would have done it on the E3, it may have worked, or it may have done the same thing and made me do it again. Now let me get this in the laptop and get ready to boot it. Now we'll get over here on the machine with my KVM switch, and then you'll be able to see it. See this, what the monitor, you know, what's coming up on the monitor. I guess I didn't hit the button good. There. Yeah, it wasn't coming on. Okay, now default. I'm going to move that and make sure it doesn't boot on me before I get done reading it. Settings 32. Default settings 32 runs from RAM. Default settings 64. I think I'll go 64 because I know it's a 64-bit machine. And there's more, like if you don't have a lot of RAM, you know, it doesn't take, well, default mode intended for 312 megabyte plus base system. So I'm fine with 2 gigabyte RAM. So I'm going to say 64-bit. So I didn't remember that this had 32 and 64-bit. So I can see, yeah, there we go. You see it booting up. It loads the whole system into RAM. I could take that USB stick out if I needed to, and sometimes that's really helpful because I might need to put another one on, you know, to copy data over or something. Say if I wanted to run, I don't think I have it. But things I used to do is like have standalone or portable versions of, you know, VNC Remote Desktop and stuff like that, and I would, or TeamViewer, I used to use that, and then I would, you know, pop them in there in the machine and open them up and run them, and then I could do it on the desktop video. So actually, I think I'll try to do that. No, actually, I learned, well, that's for Debian. This is not Debian, I don't think. I'm not sure if you can install. This may have a remote desktop server. Let me look and see. Network work. You set it. Yeah, the network sets itself up automatically on the newer version here. But let's see if it has a remote desktop app in it. This is a fantastic set of tools. So it's got all kinds of things for rescuing test disk and several others for rescuing lost files, and you know, it's got GParted, like I said. But I would use a newer version of GParted. This one is from like 2013 or something. But a lot of these other ones, it hasn't given me any trouble at all in being old. So there's a VNC viewer, yeah, networking. Yeah, so what I was having to do was run a portable version. And under system tools, there's no Synaptic or, you know, Yum or anything. I've checked before, I don't remember. CloneZilla is one that I use if you want to back up your, that's the one that I can use the easiest. There's several others for cloning your hard drive. I used that just a while back on one. But yeah, so I would have to run a portable version of something. Booted up pretty quick though, didn't it? I guess it boots pretty quick on a newer machine. A dual core with 2 gig RAM is plenty for this. Yeah, so you can't just open up Synaptic and install something. So I don't even know what installer it uses. I'd have to find it, what distro it's built on. It's not built on Debian or Fedora, I can see that. It has a virus scanner. I think it's ClaimAV. I think it downloads automatically. It's kind of a script that downloads it and sets it up for you. But the Disk Health app, there's one right there, and I think there might be another one on here. And so it sees the DVD drive in the cruiser pattern, which is my USB stick. The one that's red, that's the hard drive. Alert, the drive is reporting that it will fail very soon. Please back up as soon as possible. Okay, so it does say imminent failure then. And I would like to show this stuff where you could read it, but it would probably take more time than it's worth. Set it up. I was trying to check my sound again, and it took me a while. I had to be talking. Sometimes I stop talking to listen, and then nothing's happening. All right, so I'm just going to read this off. It's a Western Digital Scorpio Blue Serial SATA, and I'm not going to read all the model numbers and stuff. I showed them a while ago. Overall health assessment test failed. So yeah, I don't really think that even if I can get this to work, it would be wise to trust it for a server. That's the thing, is I want to set it and forget it. I've been able to do that for years, and this is the first time I've ever had every machine I try to set up as my server, I have some kind of big trouble with it, and I move on to a different one, and the different one has trouble. Reallocated sector count 117, norm 117, worst 117, threshold 140. So I guess that's why there's an alert on it. Raw value 661, pre-failure, updated continuously. And the flag that keeps popping up, I was trying to see if it was different as you moved around. No, I don't think so. Reallocated sector count, number of reallocated sectors, raw value, non-zero raw value, indicates a disk surface failure. When the drive encounters a surface error, it marks that sector as unusable, also known as pending reallocation. If the sector is successfully read from or written to at some later point, it is unmarked. If the sector continues to be inaccessible, the drive remaps it to a specially reserved area as soon as it has changed, usually during a write request or successful read, transferring the data so that no changes are reported to the operating system. This is why you generally don't see bad blocks on modern drives. If you do, it means that either they have not been remapped yet, or the drive is out of reserved area. Oh, okay. Note SSDs reallocate blocks as part of their normal operation. So low reallocation counts are not critical for them. The drive has failing pre-fail attribute. Usually this indicates that the drive will fail soon. Please back up immediately. And it says old age all up and down. Reallocate event count 176, raw value 24. Now what Adrian was telling me is that usually the the sectors that get worn out first are right close to the beginning of the drive, and he was saying you could start your partition further up the drive instead of just 1 megabyte in, go 10 or 20. He even kind of said you might even go 40 at sometimes. So that's what I was thinking about trying to do, but I was wanting to see if I could tell with this tool here, you know, where those bad sectors are. Because I gathered that there was, from talking to him, that there was a way to do that, and I just had never learned, you know, that before. Error log. Let's see. Lifetime hours 8482. There's one that says 2 sectors at LBA, you know, 0x0000800 equals 2048. This down here might be telling you something. View output. Okay. You could save that, but I don't exactly have a place to save it. Because if I try to save it on the USB stick, there's no, it's just a live system and it would just go away. Let's see. It looks like this is basically all that information in a text file. In some ways it's easier to read that way. Can I search it? No, I guess not. Control F usually opens up a little find dialog, but it didn't happen, so. I guess the best thing I could do is just try it and see. All the self-test logs, they don't have any, you know, they all seem to have completed okay. Well, see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I guess this is a list of the last 8 self-tests. Short offline manually aborted. That sounds like, you know, it was interrupted by user. Then the number 8 says short offline completed without error, 100%, lifetime hours 3. And then perform test, but you know, when I opened this up, it did, well, it did the short test. And I've run those long tests, and they don't really seem to tell me. There's extended self-test and conveyance self-test. I don't even know what that one is. They don't really tell me anymore anything that I understand. Yeah. I would like saving that. I don't think there's anywhere for me to save it. I could save it on the drive, but I'm fixing to reformat it. So it does have ext4 on it. Oh yeah, in Parted Magic, if you want to mount a drive, you have to use the mount man. There it is, mount devices. I think it's called mount man. But it won't really do any good. Well, that USB stick should already be mounted anyway. But see if there's anything else about disks. I'm not so sure if there is or not. Let's see. I mean, as far as, you know, testing them and everything. I'm wondering, how am I going to get it to, in the Fedora installer, how am I going to get it to move up like that? I know there's the Blivit GUI, but I think usually the easiest way to do it is to leave them blank and then start with a blank disk, but or it used to be, but now that the installers have more features and work better, I just don't remember. I was in the messing around in the Blivit GUI, but you also have to do all your mount points manually when you use it. So I think I will use, I just said this has the old GParted. I'm looking through all the menus and all the tools to see if there's anything that would help me. Oh yeah. Oh well, I think I kind of jumped out of my sentence. X11G VNC. Adrian showed me how to install it in a terminal on Debian. This is not Debian, so. And it was lightweight and it worked well. So yeah, I've already done. It didn't take long to look through that test. It's, you know, so I hate to spend 3 times that amount of time trying to get the VNC working. Even though it's you can't read anything. I just, you know, you just see blurry pictures. I just don't have a good enough camera to. Well, streaming over the network is half the problem because the phones can't. The cameras can do 1080p. I'm doing 720p because it can't stream any more than that. So it could actually be readable if I can get close enough to the subject to the monitor and not have to do a bunch of digital zoom like I'm doing right now. But anyway. Okay, so yeah, I've got GParted in here. The wrong menu again, but it's the older version, like I said. So okay, so really, I don't see any other tools that are for, you know, hard drive disk testing or anything, just that one. But it's real good and it tells a lot more information than I know what to do with. So I'm going to shut this down now and put in my install USB. Okay, now we're booting up to the Fedora installer, and I can do it on VNC. There we go. Get up there on the install Fedora 29 and hit tab. Then I can hit space inst.vnc. Oh, I can actually read it this time. Same laptop and everything, but it worked. Okay. It was off the screen. It wasn't sizing up. Well, probably because I was late at getting over there on the machine. I bet that was it. And it didn't have time to size it up to the monitor. So once this gets booted up, then I'll switch back over to my desktop and I can do it on remote desktop. Then you can actually see what I'm doing. Yeah, I wish every live Linux system came with that built into it, where all you have to do is just edit the grub menu and space inst.vnc enter, and then you got remote desktop running. That's pretty cool. That would be good for every rescue system. It'd be great for installers. Well, of course, not everybody wants to make a video while they're installing. That's what it's good for me, is for being able to make my live video, some desktop video of it. I think it's finished. Yeah, it is. I was getting sidetracked with my paper towels here. Okay. So we'll get on the desktop, and I'll close my remote file manager there. It's still mounted. The network drive is still mounted anytime I need it. I mean, it's not going to hurt a thing to leave it just like that. And see, I used to set up network, you know, SFTP and everything. And I was saying the other day, NFS. I used to. It's set up on that Fedora 14 system, but got to where I didn't use it much. It works a lot like Samba SMB networks, but I got to where I just liked SFTP. Anyway, I used to set it up on all my machines, and then I could network between any of them anytime I needed. But I was able to do that here, and I could just install the apps and then turn it on in the either in the preferences or the administration in Fedora 14. It had GUIs for everything, but they're dropping off so many of them that it's got to be a real pain. And then I got to worrying about the security of it, and so I kind of quit doing it. So I don't have a SSH installed on the Fedora 28 system I'm streaming from. And well, hardly any. The only ones I've been putting on the server because I really needed to copy my website over, you know. Easiest way to do it anyway for me. Okay, so let's get the remote desktop viewer up and going. And I have, let's see. Yeah, okay. I got to use the .182 port 1. There we go. And let's go ahead and make it full screen. And I'm just going to start the install on this hard drive this time, and see if it. I'm going to see if I can get into that. So English, I mean, you know, English keyboard, English. I'm eating a cough drop. That's what all the noise is. Got down to the last of it, and it's. I clicked on continue, but I thought I did. I don't want to try to rush it because it may have already. It's taken a while. It always is a bit slow on that on some of those screens, and I'm on remote desktop. So. There we go. Yep. Okay, so yeah, it's usually better than that. It's a bit slow. I hope my I rebooted my modem and my routers this morning, but I did. I usually reboot them right before I start streaming. It really makes a big difference. Yeah, and I'd already been streaming. There's something on my keyboard I'm scratching. I'm always doing something silly. I felt something, like something got on it, you know. Yeah. I bet you I bet I've spent 2 hours trying to set up the audio, make it better, while the cameras were running. I forgot they were running. Okay, so my keyboards are already done. The date and time is set to Denver by default, and or at least by default. I think it tries to figure out where you're at, but what your time zone is. But Chicago is what I want because I'm in Central Time. And now I don't think Denver is Central Time. I think the time's wrong. I know there's two I can choose. I don't think Denver's one of them. Anyway, and it's already got the closest mirror, and the software, I'll have to select all that here in a minute. Hope my VNC doesn't act up on me. It's acting kind of weird. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do my host name the way I want it. Bishop Co. Acer is what I'm going to do. And this has become my normal ritual. I'm going to go ahead and set up the wireless. It actually was really helpful. You can, it actually default. The server edition does the opposite of what the desktops do. I was saying how they always want to, if you've got the wired and the wireless both, you know, they tend to want to, well, now, in here in the installer, it does default to the wireless, and the wireless was not working good the first 3 times I did an install. It would fluctuate between 1 megabit and 52. So I've been turning it off. But yesterday, whenever I had it installed and ran it on the USB stick, had it installed on the SD card, it would default to the wired, and then if I unplug the wire, it would go to the wireless automatically. So that was pretty cool. I had a backup. Only thing is, if it's your server, then you're still going to have to go into your router and change your IP to the IP of the wireless adapter, you know. But that's could be easily done, you know, quickly if you were stuck there and needed it back up pretty quick. So anyway, I turned the wireless off just so that I get the, you know, the wired's 100 megabits, the wireless is at most 52 megabits, and like I said, it was fluctuating a lot the first 3 times I did my installs. Yeah, first 3 times, that's right. Okay, now the partitioning, go in here, and well, I always click I would like to make space available, but that was for the automatic evidently, because if I'm just going to leave it clicked, but I'm going to have to go over here to the advanced custom Blivit GUI. Maybe I've looked through this enough lately that I can remember, and it's already selected the hard drive because that's the only thing in there. See, it only has 1.18 megabyte free because I got it formatted as ext4, the whole thing. But I'm gonna try the little trick. I don't know if I can do it in this Blivit or not. We'll see. Yeah, there's not going to be anything automatic in here. I have to do it all manual, looks like. So first I'm going to delete this. Yes. Okay. Now, I want to add my, I just want a partition, and I want it to be, this one's not going to let me do it. See, it doesn't let you, you start at the beginning, and you can go towards the end. It doesn't let you bring it away from the beginning. And it's still picking XFS. They decided they want everything to be XFS now. That's what it did. I thought it was doing it because it was an SD card, but maybe they've changed. They don't want ext4 anymore. They want XFS. Maybe they think that's better. I thought XFS was really for flash memory. So that is a no-go for doing it in the installer. Okay. But I think I know what to do, maybe. Let's see. Now, it won't let you, it sees error, it won't let you do it. So, and that's the one thing I wish they had a back button. You could go back, or at least an exit button. Because let's see, I probably should have just used the old. I think it wouldn't do LVM2s. I know that. It would have done an ext4, I think, but not an LVM2, and that's what I'm thinking I need. That's what I need to do. Oh, that's right. I'm doing it remotely, so I'm gonna have to boot it up to something, unless I have a hard drive adapter, but and I can plug it into this machine. But edit selected device. Let's see what that says. Format, set map point. Yeah, okay. So, oh, okay. So resize. Yeah, it's just not. It's not going to let me move the beginning of the partition to where I want to, like I need to. So all I can do, I can't get out of it except for to just hard shut the machine down, which is not, a problem to do that. But it makes it, in my situation, a little bit more tricky. Let's see. Network boot. No, I don't have a net. I was just sitting there thinking, okay, what about network boot? I've been wanting to get into that for years. I think that's what I need to do. The thing is, here's the thing about network booting, though. You can't do it on a network with DHCP server. You got to. I have my first router I ever had, a Netgear router that I can turn off the DHCP server, and I've done it before. And then there's a, what's it called? There's a Debang distro remix that is for Pixie Boot for network booting. So you boot one machine up to it, and then put your other machines on the router. Like I said, the one that doesn't have DHCP running, not serving up any IP addresses, and then it serves up the IP addresses, and then you boot up the other machines to it. However many you got on your router. I mean, I've done two. Had one as a server, and two booted up to it. And then it tells you how to make your own mix, what it is you want. This one is Debang, just a real basic Debang. But I never got past playing with it. But it would be a really useful thing. Okay, so, of course, like I said, if I just had my multi-boot thing set up, I'd be fine. Okay, now I can put something on this SD card. Well, that's the thing to do then, because I'm just going to leave Party Magic on that little USB stick in case I need it again, instead of reformatting it. I don't need anything else on this SD card right now. The SD card and the USB adapter, so the machine will see it as a USB. And see what's on there now is the Fedora 29 server that I installed it on the SD card and the SD card adapter, and then I put it in the USB, and it ran fine until it crashed. So it's of no use. So I'm just gonna probably just put Fedora 29 mate on there or something like that. I already have that. Now you can this is a pretty cool tool. You can you've got there at the top, they've got the two newest ones, Fedora 29 Workstation and Fedora 29 Server. That would just not be the net install like I've been using. And then you can do custom image, what I've been doing, or you can click those three dots like you think you're on a phone. I don't know why I'd like to never saw that. It aggravates me every time I see it. But anyway, you've got the remixes, and it'll download. The cool thing is, especially if you're not used to going to the site and finding the images and everything, it will just download them for you, and then tell you when it's ready, and then you install. And so it's everything that is offered on the Fedora site right presently. See, you've got Fedora 29s, and then you've got some Fedora 28s too, a couple. Fedora, see, Astronomy, I guess they haven't built a 29 version yet. Games, they haven't built a 29 version. And Security Labs. So I'm going to do custom image again because I've already got mine downloaded, and it's on my backup drive. So let's go in there. Linux executables, well, Linux and Windows executables. All my installers and stuff I put in here, like the ISOs and stuff. Okay, now Fedora 29. What else have I got in there? Oh, there's one I haven't used in a while. Bootfedora.org. It just takes too long, even with I've got 200 megabit download in 10 up, and it still takes forever to load an operating system remotely from a server somewhere and install, ISO. But you can actually install from it a couple of times. Like I did it once on a laptop that I had the CD drive wouldn't work right, and my USB sticks are only 2 gigabyte, and I had the ISO was 3 gigabyte. So I actually have installed from it before, but it takes 20 or 30 minutes to download the ISO usually. Well, I don't think I've tried it since I got 200 megabits. I think I had 60 megabits in. So anyway, I'm not going to do that now. What I was thinking about was, what do I have in the way? Oh, it may be up here in the folder. I know I downloaded it. I'm thinking about my Raspberry Pi. Fedora has a server edition that can run on Raspberry Pi. There's a server net install, which I've already got on the USB stick. I don't have Fedora Jam KDE Live XFCE. I thought I had Mate. There it is. Fedora Mate Compiz Live. It just doesn't have its own folder for some reason. Sometimes I guess I do one thing then the other. And there's the server DVD. That would be everything if you needed to do an offline install. Install AARC. That's it. That's for should run on the AARCH64. That should run on the Raspberry Pi. Oh, on the 64-bit Raspberry Pi. I don't think mine is a 64-bit. I think it's a 32-bit. Just noticed that. I got the wrong one. All right, so I want Compiz. Yeah, Mate Compiz. Compiz x86 64 29 ISO. Okay. Now, I just remembered something. I didn't see that blue deal at the top saying, don't you want to reformat the disk? Oh, that's because it's got Fedora on it. Why didn't it come up? Did I just make it go away or something? So I can't just, that says mass storage device. Okay, but yeah. Ooh, yeah, 32 gigabyte. Okay. I was going to say, whoa, which drive is which? But I can go by the size because 5 terabyte, 8 terabyte, 32 gigabyte. Okay. It's fixing to get the chicken and back out. But what I don't understand is why is it not giving me the chance to reformat it? I might have to do it with I always forget that. I'm going to close this and open it back up again and see if it does it. If not, then I'm going to manually do it in GParted because I know it will fail because it's already got Fedora server on it. And I've tried it before. It tells you in here that you can go ahead and write this on here. You don't have to redo it. But it will not boot. It will mix up all the grub will be mixed up. It'll pull some files from the old one version and some files from the other version, and it may boot, but it's going to be screwed up. Because I believed them and did it. So it's really kind of a bug in it. And see, it's not saying a thing like, no, every time I put that thing in there, it's popped up and said, don't you want to set it to, put it back to the factory settings. So I've learned the hard way to prepare it first in this case. Okay, so I got GParted. Yeah, that's my hard drive that I'm running on, and there's it's going to be dev SDD, I believe. Gotta make sure. Yeah, 26.82 gigabyte. STC 4.55 terabyte. SDB is 7.28 terabyte. I wonder why it's TIB when terabyte is TER. They always do things like that. It's 26.82 gigabytes. Okay, gotta be very careful. You don't want to screw that up. So it's got, this is how I formatted it, by the way, manually. Well, not completely manually. I didn't use the Blivit GUI. I used the custom install section, which allowed me to do this. Allowed me to pick my file systems I wanted, and then it set them up automatically on my mount points and everything. So that's a good, easy way to customize it to a certain extent. But see, it's got ext4 1 gigabyte for boot, and then ext4 26 gigabyte for and this is just straight ext4, no LVM for you know, your operating system. And then it's got home and root and it's all on one partition. And then a Linux swap is 2 gigabyte. But what I want to do is, let's see, make sure none of them are mounted. Oh, that is mounted. Before, you don't want to edit one that's mounted. So I need to make sure they're all unmounted. I almost forgot that. I have forgotten done it when you're just deleting the partitions, and it will just kind of, okay, now swap is off, so you don't want to turn swap on. See if it says, whatever option you can do, you need to, see if it says swap on, no, you don't want swap on. But if it was saying swap off, then you would want to do that. So, yeah, you don't want it mounted. So now, 28 gigabyte, I'm still making sure I'm on the right drive because it scares the heck out of me. Okay, you can't select them all. I was trying to select them all. I don't know if it really matters if you start at the first one or the last one. Sometimes it does on some particular setups. I'm hitting that little X up there to delete it. You can right click, or you can use the menus up there. Okay, now that's all I want. I want it empty, so that the Fedora Media Writer will. Yeah, I think that'll work. You could make it FAT32, and that's what I was going to do. Actually, let's make it FAT32 because I can't remember if it'll see it. If the Fedora Media Writer will see it if it's empty, but there's no partitions. It may not. And I'm pretty sure if I just make it FAT32, it'll be fine. Oh, I keep thinking, now see, here's where I could make the preceding space. I could make it, you know, 10 megabytes or 20 megabytes or whatever, if I had that hard drive hooked in here. So I'll be able to do it in a Fedora 29 Live, though, with GParted, once I get this written and boot the machine up to it. So I'm going to leave that just like it is, but I'm not going to do ext4. I'm going to do, see, there's a lot of different ones you can do in here. It's what was that, XFS? Yeah, there. I think that's the one that it was doing it as. Anyway, you can do a lot of different ones, and it's pretty cool. There's some, you know, you can see there's some listed in there that you can't do. FAT32 is what I want. A lot of software calls it VFAT, but that's FAT32 and VFAT is the same thing. I was going to label it, but no. Fedora will label it when it formats it. Okay. Now we'll say go. And that will erase everything, but this will also put the partition table on it. And this is a SD card, so that'll give it a partition table, and maybe that, I don't know if the Fedora installer needs that help or not. It may put another one on there, but anyway, it'll have one. If you don't have a partition table, then it wouldn't boot. I'd forgotten about all that till the other day when Adrian reminded me about that. I had run into those problems before, and had to, you know, go read up on it and figure it out, and do it like this manually. You can go up there and say add a partition table, but If you're formatting a drive, it will do it. Okay, it's all done successfully. Let's see if it tells that it put a partition table on there. Created empty partition. File system, set partition type. I don't see anything about a partition table in there. Pt13 file system. Make FS, that's what it's running. That's the command if you're doing it in the command line. Okay. I'll look up there in the partition table menu and say, oh, well, let's see, maybe there's, information. I don't think it did do a partition table. I thought it would. It does not, unless there's just not, it's not giving me the information from here, There, create a partition table. I'm just going to look at it. MS-DOS. I think it has one because Pt13 wouldn't work without partition table. I think it's, I'm just not seeing how to, where to see it. So now I'm going to close this and it's done. Unmount it. Well, it's unmounted because of working on it. So I'll unplug it and plug it back in and it should mount up. There it goes, Pt13, no files. Okay, now I couldn't remember what the next thing was to do. Fedora Media Writer. Now it won't matter if it asks me any of that stuff or not, because it's empty. It's got a Pt13 that no files on it. So custom image, Seagate expansion drive, downloads, Fedora Linux 29, make configs. There we go. Okay, mass storage device 32 gigabyte. Yep. Okay, make darn sure that's what I want. Okay. Oh, there used to be a section where you could set persistent storage, and that's what I was actually thinking I would do. But it's not giving me that option. Maybe it only does it with Fedora ISOs. But, it's going to be a lot of wasted space, but I'm going to, that's all right. I'll use it as long as I need it, and then when I need to do something else with it, I'll do something else with it. But I was thinking, well, I'd have some space to write files to, but do not see an option for that. If there was one, I missed it, so that little arrow doesn't do anything. Just want to make sure I don't mess anything up on my other drives. Okay. This will take a little longer than, the ones I've been doing. They're really small, like 300 to 750 megabytes. This is, forgot, it's make compiz maybe. Oh, I forgot. When you go off of that window, it does that crap. It'll still finish, and I'll be able to. Last time I did that. Keep forgetting that. It still should finish okay, and I should be able to click. I click cancel. I remember that because it's asking you when it finishes. It doesn't. It says, "Do you want to delete that image?" And you want to hit cancel, and then it'll say, "Okay, now you're done." Kind of odd. I Linux. This is back. I'm just going to go back into that folder that I was just in, just so I can see the size of that ISO. 1.8 gigabyte. Oh, well, that one would have fit on my USB. It's the DVD images that get pretty big. Fedora server DVD, 2.7 gigabyte, almost 3 gigabytes. But if I organize it by ISO images, so this one is 1.8. The net install is only 537. The server net, oh, there's 64. What have we got here? Oh, ARC. Yeah, that's the ARM process for the ARM processors, which this is the one I got. I'm pretty sure that's the one that says it's for Raspberry Pi. I think they have, well, I think it's the same one. Talking about this one here. Same one for Raspberry Pi, and I think it says Raspberry Pi and other ARM processor, units, whatever. And then I've got KDE Live Jam. KDE, that's for audio video stuff. Only thing I would just I have installed from it before, and then just went ahead and added Make Desktop. But that's where I don't install KDE Desktop anymore, because they fight with each other for control of some processes, and they both want to run their processes, and it works your system harder. So usually, and I usually do like to have a second desktop in case I break the one I've got, my main one. And so it's usually now I usually use XFCE because it doesn't do that so much with Mate. Pretty simple to kind of turn off the things you don't want running in the background. And then that one is server i386. They do still have, you got to look around to find it, but they do still have i386 server. Now that might not be in the Media Writer. I think you have to go to the torrent downloads to get it, and that's what I would need to install on the IBM, because it's a 386. It's not it's not a 386. It's a 32-bit. It's not a 64-bit. They still use i386, but they don't support i386 actually. A lot of them do that. That's just to check something. Okay. They still use the i386 label, even though they don't run on i386s, obviously. So I don't really know why they chose to keep that name on these Linux distros, but they did. But I guess because everybody's used to it. It doesn't throw me off because I'm used to it. But I did have to read that when that happened. I remember when they dropped support for 386s. Even though it wouldn't, Fedora wouldn't really, even when I started in 05, it was already too bulky to run on a 386 really, to really do anything with it. But let's see, there was Tiny Core Linux that would run on a 386 and the 480. Really, it'd scream on a 486. I did it. I played with it. And now see, I can see the red line, and it's getting close to being done, and hopefully when it gets to the end, maybe, yeah, see, now when I move my mouse around, that cancel button came up. So I hate to just sit here. It looks like it could have anywhere from 30 seconds to 2, 3, 4 minutes more to go. It's going pretty fast, though, isn't it? So I guess I will sit here, except for I'm going to go back and get out of that. I don't like to stay on those backup drives. I'm afraid I will forget where I am, or slip of the keyboard and delete files on my backups. Now at least I have 2 backup drives, so if I did lose something on one, I would have it on the other. Okay, yeah, I can tell that it's done. Oh, there's a green line now. I guess it's checking written data. I can barely see that. Started to move that away from the other one to see if it would show up better, but it might make it worse. So I'm not going to mess with it. That's buggy, isn't it? But it works fine. Well, I say fine. A while ago, it didn't do what I expected it to do. It didn't ask me to don't want to reformat it. Which is and that's funny, because do you want to restore it to factory settings? That just makes no sense whatsoever. All the other installers, ISO writers for CDs, DVDs, and then they come along to USBs. They all said, do you want to format? Do you want to reformat? Explained what it was a little bit, a lot of them, and warned you not, you don't want to do that to your hard drive. And I learned the ins and outs by reading the programs, so I don't know why they don't just do it in a normal way like that. When you don't tell people what's really going on, you just make it dangerous for them to completely screw up. And no, they're not going to ever learn anything that way. I mean, I did end up doing more reading and more watching videos over the years to get to learn more about it, and gained experience from just doing it. But they keep trying to dumb everything down, and they just make it dumb. It's not just Fedora doing it. And they're trying to appeal to a wider audience, is what they're saying. But the people that I've helped, put Linux on something, that doesn't help them. It's just, they're like, what the heck? What? It's already kind of, there we go. You can see it a lot better. And it did come up and say it's finished, so that's good. So anyway, yeah, I want to close, not cancel. I want to close, and I don't want to delete the image. Now, oh yeah, kind of like when you're running out of video memory, but my machine's not running out of video memory. That's just what this app does. Okay, so it's not mounted, right? No. Okay, so I'm going to unplug it. I just really like to always do that. Hit cancel. So now it's mounted. Now I can look around it a little bit and make sure everything's okay. I didn't do that when I was in a hurry, and I didn't do it, and then I didn't have what I expected, and got myself kind of turned around because I didn't investigate. So mate, there we go. I mean, but sometimes it doesn't, just because it says it worked doesn't mean for sure that it worked. And if you get in there and if you're kind of familiar with what folders should be there, you'll know right quick. Or if you just if say there's just hardly anything in there, then you can get a clue. I've had that happen when I didn't really even know exactly what to expect. Okay, so it looks like it should be fine. And eject it. Put it in the laptop. Now, let's see. This one I will not be able to do remote desktop unless I install it on there or something. We'll see. Let's see. What is it I'm going to do? GParted. Okay. Oh, I didn't switch over. Oh, I got it first hit. Okay. So maybe I got it in time for everything to fit the monitor, getting size up the monitor and all that stuff. Okay, now I haven't, normally I don't check the media, but since this is a brand new write, let's check it so that we don't end up wasting time. It doesn't take a real long time on a flash memory. It reads pretty fast. So I was going to say USB, but this is really a flash, SD card and a USB adapter, but they're all flash memory. Now there's a percentage of the checking that's showing up there, and you can press escape to abort if you just decide it's taking too long or something. It's up to 23% now, so I see it's not too bad. It used to take a long time on the CDs and DVDs, and so I used to not do it on a brand new one even, but I got caught a few times. Wasted a lot of time booting into something. especially when it's an installer and you're going to install and you boot into it and you run that install and then it fails and it's all because you had a bad ride. That's no fun. 54, 55%. $65. $79. What may, okay, 100%. There we go. I guess I went straight into booting. Yeah, went straight into booting up. Doesn't go back. I think they used to go back to the main screen and then you could boot up from there. Or go back to the main screen and then if you didn't do anything, it would count down 10 seconds and then boot up. But it goes straight into booting up, which is good. It's great. Glad I like something, huh? And I have noticed that Fedora 28 and 29 boot pretty fast. It's finished, really. It's the laptop screen, the broken laptop screen, is I can see the menus and stuff. Now they're pretty much all come up. Well, now you can see be able to see the desktop background over here. So it's not going to be mirrored. So I'm going to have to change the settings. Battery has very low capacity, 44.6%, which means it's maybe old or broken. Yeah, so it can only charge up halfway or not even halfway, I guess, is what it's saying. But, yeah, the Fedora, has the menus at the top left. So I can look at, that's just what I can see on the laptop. So I can look in there. I got to move around where I can see it. Go in the preferences and I've already forgot. Anyway, go in the preferences and look around and you'll find and it pops it up over there on the laptop, but I can drag it over here. Now, see, it's already seen both monitors and it's set it at 1280 by 800. Well, that's for the laptop monitor. But what I want to do is where is it? Same image, all monitors. It doesn't say clone, it says same image, all monitors. Now, 1024 by 768, and that's the highest you can do. That's fine. It'll be fine. It's be a little out of shape on this monitor, but that's okay. Okay, apply system-wide. Oh, keep this configuration, apply system-wide. And where's that little thing that says show monitors and panel? It may not. Hit apply. Keep, apply system-wide, okay, close. So it gives you a square, screen instead of, yeah, the laptop is only half full, or around half full, so yeah, it's not even quite, so it's not, that battery is not in very good shape, but it'll only go charged. It's been turned on and left on. I left it on all night last night, so yeah, that's accurate, I suppose. It's not, well, I mean, they're usually pretty accurate, those meters there. So that battery's not in very good shape. That wouldn't matter really unless it got so bad it caused trouble. Some laptops will run without the battery. You can just take them out. Some of them won't. If they go bad, then it won't boot up anymore. I don't know about this one. As long as it's okay, I won't mess with it. As long as it's not overheating or something. But let's see. It would be good. What is it I'm going to do? I was sitting here thinking I might install it. That X11 desktop thing is, well, I could do it. I emailed myself the instructions. Yeah, there's not going to be a remote desktop app on here. That's what I was wondering. Fedora doesn't come with one installed, and I get, well, the Bane doesn't either, evidently. So the instructions are for the Bane, though. Yeah, I think they're only for the bane. I guess I could look it up. That'd probably be the easiest thing to do instead of going, yeah, that page may not even work. Now that I know X11 VNC is a little lightweight, it's Krfb is the one I've been using because you can do it all in the desktop, but it also is about 350 megabytes, all which is fine really on this machine. But oh, I went to the wrong. I wanted to be at. Oh, it doesn't have the searcher. Let's see. I guess I'll just have to go to Google. I'm sitting here thinking maybe I should just install Krfb, though. Even though it's bigger, all I have to do is use the let's go to Google. Let's just see. Fedora 29, install X11 server. How do I install Genome Desktop? Window Maker. Oh, I should have searched for X11 VNC. That's what it's called. How to share your desktop. Fedora packages. Oh, you can download an RPM. That still won't get it up and running, though, I don't think. Oh, bookmark all tabs is still in this one. This is an older browser. That's the way I like it. I know this is going away, but I don't want to lose it. I don't want to lose these pages, but I want to close them. Started at boot. Okay, well, I'm going to look here and see. What is this? Oh, that was that RPM. Well, if I wanted to get that, I would go, what is that? Oh, that says fedorapackages.org. Just looks funky. Those ads kind of make me think it reminds me of a shareware site or something. I guess it's just because I'm not used to seeing ads because I have ad blockers. Okay, how to share it? Objective requirements, easy. Installation, sudo nf install x11 VNC. Okay, now what do you got to do to get it running? Install the program. You can launch straight from the terminal or via GUI. Desktop launcher should be found. Oh, you got to do the firewall. Yeah, the default display can be tricky. I've ran into problems with that before. Seems to be more involved on Fedora than it was on, or maybe this one's just giving you more options of what you can do. I think I've done this before and got hung up on little things. The one thing that hung us up, and but Adrian knew what to do, was it the command it gave the you know, like home user or home DOM would be, you know, like what it would be in my system. It was home I don't remember, home user. No, it wasn't home user. I think it was home something else, and we needed to change it to home user, and then it worked in the Bane live. In his rescue tux is what we were doing it in. But here's what I think I'm just going to do is I'm going to go ahead and use Dragora because I'm not sure if there's any other apps that need to go with it. It would be faster to just say DNF install X11 VNC, but I'm going to use Dragora just so that I can have to wait for it to update the package list and everything. Oh, I don't want to update. I want all. Okay, now I'll really have to wait. I'm sure there are plenty of updates, but I don't want to install any of them. That would be about 700 megabytes. I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure you can do it without installing the updates. Yeah, and especially in Dragora, you got to select the updates to install them, so I won't select any updates. But let's see, what is it we're trying to do? Oh yeah, GParted. Yeah, could have been done probably by the time I get all this. Could have been done, but I do hate making videos, desktop videos that you can't really see what's going on. This is pretty slow though. I sometimes forget just how slow it takes this thing to get up and going, get its engine started. It's checking all the updating the I guess it would be DNF cache. Now it used to be Yum cache or Yum repos cache, so I guess it's DNF repos cache or whatever. Guess if I'd have paid more attention to that command. Oh, I'm not doing X11 though, because then that still has to be set up, and once you install it, you can install it in here, then you still have to set it up and do the password and all that stuff in the terminal. The more I saw on that page, the more I thought, oh, 5 places to get hung up from, so I do know that Krfb will just run. And I tried installing it in Rescue Tux that day before Adrian came on and started helping me, and it failed. And then later, when he was saying, well, how about do X11 VNC, and so I just opened up Synaptic and started installing it, and he said, oh, you got to reload the DNF automatically reloads the the repos cache. Well, Synaptic, you have to hit the reload button, and I had forgotten to do that, so probably my Krfb install would have worked if I would have reloaded the repos first. But this is painfully slow. I'm going to grab me a little snack right quick. Starters say looks like it's about done, but no. Yeah. Let's see. Descriptions, summaries, names might work, but it might not. I'm going to do in descriptions. And from that Google search, I believe it's X11 VNC with no dash O, and you can't just hit enter, you got to click search. Okay. There it is. But that's not what I want. I want Krfb. That's how I did it. I used Synaptic and did that. There's different architectures available. I'm on x86-64. But just showing the libs knocked the whole app. Let's try names. Yeah, there we go. I still want. Why is there 2 x86-64s? It sure looks like that's what there is. And the libs will get installed automatically as dependencies. 18043. Oh, 1808. Okay, so I don't want that one. It doesn't matter that much. At this point, it's a live system. It's going to be gone. But 18083. That's the newest version. Now, see, it's going to install. Oh, it says total size 15 megabyte. Why was there so much into Bang? I didn't think it was really all that big. Unless I'm going to have to go back and install the libs manually. Wait and see, but they should get installed with it. Approximately 2 minutes remaining. It shows to be done. Oh, it's not done. It's done with part of it. That's funny that it tells you that on the installation. I don't remember it doing that on my Fedora 28 system. It tells you that, but it didn't tell you that on the initial loading. The one time when you're like, what's going on, you know? Because so you got your progress bar down here at the bottom. Yeah. Computer will hibernate. I never have plugged this thing in. Hang on, I gotta plug it in. Still has that message up there, but I did plug it in. Oh yeah, it shows. It shows that it's plugged in. Okay. I can't believe I did that. Absolutely forgot to plug it in. So it ran for, well, let's see. As long as 2 hours. And that's how long I've been streaming. And so when I set it up, well, I guess I didn't really turn it on until. Let's look at the charging information. Oh yeah, I could have showed that on the. Yeah, so it shows that it's plugged in. Okay, so let's get back to what we're doing. So yeah, and Krfb libs got installed along with it. So now I can quit that and turn on Krfb. There it is. Now, let's see. Oh yeah, same IP as it's been getting, right. Okay. And I'm going to enable unattended access. And put my password in there. It won't save that unattended. See, it makes a random password every time you open it up, but that's only for if it's attended. So you have to click on the machine, yes, allow the connection. But if you enable unattended access, and it'll normally, yeah, there it is. KDE Wallet wants you to set up. It won't save that password though, that unattended password, unless you set up KDE Wallet. But I'm not going to do that. So it should be up and going now. Let's get over here on the desktop and find out. Mm, 182, but it's going to be port 5900. Oh, I must not have done something right. Didn't let me connect. Let's go back over there and look at it. Enable desktop sharing, unattended access. It should be working. Surely you don't have to reboot the machine for it to work. I've done it in live systems, I swear. Maybe it just wasn't ready yet. Let's try it again. 182, 5900. Yeah. Make sure I was going to the right one. I could be wet and funny, and I just don't remember that you actually have to install and reboot 182, 5900. Firewall. I always remember the firewall. That's what it said in the little article, didn't it? Didn't even think about that. But administration, firewall. Yeah, I think in the live system it'll just go ahead and give you the, you know, the privileges you need, and actually you can just click. You can click on it. VNC server, and well, I would always put it on permanent if I was you know, on a regular system. Now that will probably do it right there. Leave it in public like it is. That's the default. I usually change to Fedora workstation or whatever. Public is more restricted, and you know, I want to be able to do what I need to do. Yep. So don't forget the firewall, or you'll do like I did. Okay, so now okay, so see, that's what I did. It was already defaulted to public. All I had to do was click on VNC server. So now I can close the firewall out. And in here, what I was talking about is click. It defaults like that without already selected in a auto-generated password. But I would have to be getting over here on the laptop at the same time to click OK. You have to hurry, you know, or it'll quit asking. So it's a real pain. You got to hurry up and say OK, yes. It's fine if there's two people, but with one person, and just, you know, for myself, it's just, I'm just me, you know, nobody else is going to get into it anyway, so I always do enable unattended access and then change unattended password. You got to put that there's no password in there, it won't work. You got to put a password in there. And so now we can, well, I'll leave that like that so that I'll know that I can see right quick that it's something in that window. I don't guess it matters. You can shut it. It says live system. You shut it down, everything goes away that you just did anyway. But there is a system monitor, but this is the one, Mate System Monitor, uses more resources, if I remember right. I'm going to look and see. Yeah, this is the one that doesn't have the search in it, but it'll tell you. Actually, this page with the graphics, and all of them, it uses quite a bit of resources, so I wouldn't leave it sitting in there. I usually leave it. Now, here's what I'm running, Mate. Fedora 29 Mate Compiz, Linux kernel 4.18, so and so. Memory 1.9 gigabytes, Pentium. This is what's cool about this one here, the Mate System Monitor, that it shows you this right here on this tab. Dual core, T3200, 2 gigahertz, available disk space, 107.6 megabytes, because that's on the live system. See, it didn't take up that whole 32 gigabyte SD card. It just made what it needs to run the live system, and but the rest of it is still probably, I think it's going to be like taken up. So now, see, here's the window that I usually use to monitor everything, but it doesn't have a search, so you can't find things quickly. So, but it could still be useful. Like you can, it doesn't have memory. You can't. Oh, there it is, memory. I can't. It doesn't on the remote desktop. It's hard to get them to, where you can drag things. Oh, there it went. Didn't look like it was going to work. So, worked without the little icon changing, the mouse icon changing. Whoops. So if I do by memory, then see, I can see if something gets unruly. But this also uses quite a bit of memory, so I'm just going to close it, but I can open it back up. All right, now, what were we going to do? GParted, what are we going to do? The hard drive, GParted, the hard drive. So that comes in Fedora, and also you have the Blivit GUI, but I haven't ever used it. Well, it's so new, I haven't used it to do anything but look around the drives. And this one looks just like the Genome Disk application that I've used for years, and it doesn't work very good for formatting and stuff. It'll fail a lot of the time, so I don't use it. This one, I don't know, might be okay. I mean, it's in the installer, but GParted is the one I'm so used to. And see, it blinks that little window. That's giving you root privileges automatically. In the live system, it'll do that. Otherwise, you'd have to put in your root password. So here's dev SDA. That's the hard drive. And SDB is what I'm booted to. I'm on my little SD card. But what I want to do is, see, yeah, I'm on the laptop. Can't destroy anything important over here. That's one thing I like about doing experimental stuff on another machine. Real good idea to me. So, what I want to do, let's see, how am I going to do this? To get ready to, I don't know if I just want to move this partition. So you can just, oh, I guess you can't. Drag it and move it over. Oh, you got to click resize. Then you can drag this over. So, move it off the front. Now this is in megabytes, so I can do 20. I guess that's as good as, I mean, I could delete this partition and format it again, but I don't know that would be of any benefit to me. And since I don't know, maybe I will do that. I'm just going to hit cancel, and this is probably overkill, but I'm going to delete that, and then I'm going to make a new partition, which is just going to be an ext4, and then I'm going to move it over. Well, that's what I want to do. 20. He even said you could do 40 megabytes once, but I don't know if there was any conditions on that or what. And I mean, I don't know. I just don't have any idea if those bad sectors are in the first part, or where they are. So, and I don't know if I would have problems. But he really kind of, he said we'll do 10 or 20, and then he kind of said, well, I forget what all he said. Could do 40. It kind of seemed to be under. He said some things fast, so I missed some of it. But I think I'll do 20, because that seemed to me that the most optimal way to do this, the safest way, would be 10 to 20, from what he was saying. Talking about Adrian, the developer of RescueTux that's been helping me, and I've been, I tested out his new ISO he's working on, his new RescueTux that he's working on. Okay, primary partition, and now I could, here's what I was thinking about doing, is doing ext4, make it the right size, and then do the LVM. Yeah, because I'm afraid it's just going to overdo all this. So I'm going to make this, just make it 1 gigabyte. Okay, let's see, 1024, that's what they've been doing. Okay. 1024 and 20 off the front. So yeah, I'm glad I went ahead and did the remote desktop, because it would make no sense if you couldn't see what I'm doing. Okay, I'm not going to label it or anything, because when what I'm thinking here, this is what I'm hoping will work, is Fedora will just use these partitions instead of wanting to make new ones. Now the rest of this, I'm going to make it an LVM2. Oh, where did it go? LVM2 PV. That is what Fedora will want to install to. And when it sees that there's nothing used on them, but they're there, it should just go ahead and automatically use it. Or I can use the custom install and tell it to use it. And if I get something a little wrong, well, the mount points and all that will have to be put in there. So I don't know. I'll probably have to use the. We'll see what the automated install shows. But I'll probably go ahead and click on the custom install just to make sure it leaves this alone in the front. Okay, ext4, LVM2 PV, and see the LVM2 and the normal Fedora with my Fedora 28. It has root partition ext4 swap, and then home ext4 partitions inside of the LVM2. So that is, and it doesn't do it that way on the SD card. So, and it could be that the server edition just does it differently too. So, but this is the way I expect it to be on a hard drive. So, I'm going to do that. Yes, I want to apply the operation to super user. I'm going to do it, and then we'll see if I get lucky. All right, it worked well, and it's pretty fast, isn't it? So I'm just going to close it. Now, what is the flag on there? Information. Unable to read the contents of the file system because some operations may be unavailable because there might be missing software package following. Oh, okay. Yeah, you might need to install something to read that, but it did it though. But it can make an LVM2, so that's fine. Now, when you reformat, when you write a hard drive, you need to reset the hard drive. Which you can just reboot the machine, turn the machine off, turn it back on. You don't have to turn it off, but if it's a USB or a stick or a SD card, you can unmount it, unplug it, and plug it back in. And on SD cards, you can usually a lot of times you can, and USB sticks, a lot of times you can get away with not doing that. But it's for me, it's like I never know when I can get away with it or not. So unless I forget, I go ahead and do it. Now, I'm going to shut it down. I'll just use the menu here to shut it down, and then I got to put the installer stick in there. And of course, we'll lose our connection instantly. And I didn't reboot it, I just shut it down. And I actually need a break, and instead of doing what I've been doing lately of leaving everything running and going and taking a break, I think I'll shut down the video and start a new video. Yeah, I really probably be very wise for me to reboot everything anyway, because I've been streaming for 2 hours and 20 minutes, and actually I've been streaming for probably 3 or 4 hours because I had everything up and going before. While I was doing audio, sound tests and everything. Yeah, so I'm going to go and take my break and get situated, reboot everything, and then come back and run that installer at the Fedora 29 net installer on that hard drive and see if I can get it to install just like I partitioned it. Alright, I'll be back after a while.